Okay, here we have the sample of the restaurant data that we are working with. First of all, we begin by just looking at the general data that we have. So the data that we have here is date, transaction type, the customer. So if it's either cash customer or it's from Uber Eats or Glovo, etc. The transaction ID. This is the ID of the people according to how they bought the products. So these IDs are similar, meaning that this person ate Kota grilled chicken with a chicken burger. So this was on the same on the same receipt. So this was the transaction ID. And if you see the transaction type, these numbers are also the same, 8252, 8252, though they differ from the transaction ID, but they give that general bill number or transaction ID. The items are the food that were bought or the drinks. The price of that specific food. The quantity is the amount of things that were bought. The discount is the discount that was given, though it is zero entirely through the whole data. The amount is now the total, which is the price multiplied by the quantity. You can see 1,000 here. Department is 1 for all of them, though they have 2 restaurants, but we have data for 1 restaurant. So after seeing this, we can have a further look. When you press Control down, you can see there's a breakage in the data. And you can see there are these total amounts for every specific day, total day sales, they are given here. For us to do a proper data analysis, these numbers will be very, very hectic, because if you want to do a calculation for ourselves, it will hinder the whole process because of this very large number, which is just, as you can see here, the sum is 4990. It's 46,790. You can see 46,790 here. This is the total day sales. So this is basically the 31st of October 2021. So the first thing that you do with data, you have to clean it. You have to make sure there are no breakages in the data, so that multiplication or additions are done throughout the whole data set. And you can see when we move out of and go down, go back to the beginning, you can see the data gets to 25,013. So there are a lot of data points going downwards, and they're going up to the 16th of February 2022. So the first thing we do is to clean this data. We can see that the transaction type also is not that important for us, because you have the transaction ID, and the discount is 0 all through. So the discount is also not important to us, and the department is 1. Since it's 1 restaurant, so the department is also not important to us. So what we do, we first delete these unimportant values. There are a couple of ways which you can do this cleaning, but let's start with the most basic way of doing it. When you click that cell that we want to delete, you can right click, you can delete. Remember, you have to have the original data somewhere else. So make sure you copy the Excel file, then you do the editing on a different Excel file, so that you always have the original for any reason, for any purpose that you might need the original. Also, the discount is not important to us. We delete this. The department is not important to us. Also delete this. Then we have to remove these spaces. These spaces really affect the file type, because these are supposed to be numbers, and the spaces might affect the whole general, the whole appearance of the calculations of the formulas that we're trying to calculate. Even the date here, the breakages might render this not being realized as a date. So what we do, we can do the ad hoc method of cleaning this, making sure there are no empty spaces, because as you can see here, the transaction ID is very important, because we don't want any blank here. So we can work with the transaction ID. or the transaction ID is the best. We can click here, go to sort and filter. Then you can filter. Then click that small arrow there. You can go to the bottom of this list and click blank here. Remove the blanks, press OK. Now the data is free flowing and fluent. You can see it goes up to 25 and 13 here. And you can see it's jumping a couple of them. When you move from one date to the other, you can see it jump the empty spaces. You can see here, let me just show you. You can see here, there's 127, 130. So the 128 and 129, those two empty spaces were excluded. After doing this, we can select all of this, copy it, put it on another sheet. And now we have good, clean data that we can work with. Other things that we can do to clean this data a little bit more is selecting all this. Before we do that, we can put this on a table. The way to do it is to select this whole table. The way I do it is Control-Shift downwards. It goes to the last one. While still holding Control-Shift, you press the right arrow, selects everything. Now we have everything selected. Then we can go Insert Table. Then it gives us the range here. Then, okay. Now we have the table inserted. The purpose of the table is to make sure this data is consolidated into something that is in oneness. As you can see, also when you move down, you can see this date, customer, they remain there. It's easier to check the data. It's easier to work with it when it's in a table. Okay, that's the first way that we can clean this. Now this data is clean, it's ready for analysis. And we can also add other things here, like the day of the week or the hour, etc., etc. But those we'll do on a later analysis. Right now, we're just doing the basic cleaning. You can see the data now is clean, is ready for analysis. Okay, let's look at another method for cleaning this data. Let's just redo this, and now we have the data from the beginning, how it was. Okay, so this is what we had in the beginning. You can see it, how it is. The other method that you can do this is using something called the Power Query. So how the Power Query works is we can just select all this. It has selected everything. Let's make sure, let me tell you how we do it. Go to the, we can go to any corner or any cell here, press Control-A. It will select everything. And we can just check that. It selects everything. You see it stops all there. We go downwards. We can see it has stopped on our 25 and 15 here. So it has selected everything. We put it in a table. Insert table, you can click just insert table here, or you can, as you can see, you can press Control-T, which is the what I will use, Control-T. Okay, and now it's been put in a table. It's not clean, but it's been put in a table, and now we can use the Power Query. When we go to formulas, sorry, it's not formulas, it's data. When you go to data, there's this section, get and transform. From this now, we can work on creating a query. We can click new query here. Sorry, from table to make it easier because this is the only table that we have. So you click from table, wait for it to load a little bit, then it will open this Power Query. From this now, we have this is a Power Query is very, very important in this process because it works very, very nicely in creating new tables. It will help you transform the data in any way that you want. You can transpose it. You can do so many things with it. You can group You can do so many things with it. It's very, very good to work with. So what we do here, we go to the transaction ID, then we can remove empty. Click there, and you can see this shows filtered rows. This is basically just the steps that have been applied. If you do something else, we can do something like filter here, click maybe remove Aisha here, okay. Oh, sorry. What's happening? Okay, let me just cut this so that we can start again. So what you see here, you see when you remove that, the nulls are here. What you can do, as I've said, when you're cleaning, you can remove the empty spaces. Once you remove them, it says that there's a row that has been filtered and perfect. And after we are done, we can close and load. And now it has created a new, just delete this one. It has created a new sheet 3, which is a cleaned list. And it gives you the query here. When you double click it, you can do more things with it. You can do more things with it, do more filters. You can work on the data itself. You can create, transform it, add columns, etc., etc. It will add the steps here. And once you come here and close and load, the data will change and have something else. You can, let's do one thing, then we can, so that you can see what I mean, then we can remove that step. You can add a custom column. So it adds a new column here. You can say you just want items or something multiplied by, no, not items. You can say price, probably want to know now the price multiplied by the quantity. Something like that. Okay, it adds that column. We never give it a precise name, but it's called it custom. Then when you close and load, you can see that custom just appears here. And that's the good thing about the Power Query. You can make changes and they will appear here. And to delete that, you can just come here, delete added custom or the added row, close and load, then that custom disappears. It doesn't have to have this. You can just close it. If you want to find it, you can come here to the data again, show queries, then it appears here. Then you can make all the changes that you need. So now we have data that is clean. We haven't removed a couple of things. We need to remove the unnecessary columns. So what you can do, we can, sorry, you just right click here, remove this column. There's this or this one that's was not important to us. Remove this column, remove. There was also department, discount and department. We never wanted them. I've pressed Control so that I can multi-select so that I don't keep on selecting each and every one of them. So I've clicked this one, pressed Control, clicked department. So they both have been selected. So I can remove the columns. And boom, you can see the steps here, the columns removal. If I cancel this, they'll come back. And I can now just go home, close and load. And boom, now we have good, clean data ready to be analyzed. Good, clean data ready to be analyzed. So these are the two methods. The Power Query one is the best method. The first one is ad hoc, but it's also something that you can do to clean the data itself and understand what we are trying to do. So thank you. See you in the next one when we talk. Now delve into the analysis of this restaurant data. Peace.